And I know that it's quite usual in other countries and cultures that you just say, hey, I'm coming over for the weekend, or I'm going to visit you. And I can just say, don't do that here. Okay guys, and now I'm back with the video on things you should not do in Germany. If you have missed my things to do in Germany, I have linked the video on this up here. And now let's get started right away. So my number one is very, very important on Sundays, which is a very special day here. And it is to not cause any noise on Sundays. Sundays is a day of rest, and here people are really sensitive if it's too loud. So try to avoid the following things on Sunday: running the washing machine, vacuuming, very important, drilling, please. Do it on any other day, except if you have to move and get your stuff done before Monday, that's fine because it's a single occasion, but not like regularly. And also don't mow your lawn on Sunday, otherwise there'll be neighbors running in the worst case to tell you to stop. Because people want to sleep, want to be able to really rest and recover for the week ahead, and also try not to play the drums or trumpet on that day, and make sure not to cause too much noise after 10 o'clock and on weekends for 9 o'clock in the morning. So this is really, really important. So my second point, or my second don't, would be don't ask people what they earn. People here don't like that. They don't like to share this information, not even with closer friends. Like in my parents' generation, people don't talk about their salary. You only know it if like your friend or acquaintance is working in public service. Of course, then it's transparent, but normally it's not a thing to be talked about, because like people do not want to create social envy or inferiority or superiority complex kind of thing. And also it should not define you as a person, like how much you make. This is the personal thing, or this is a very personal information here, and it should not like change how people think about you. Like also bragging is not appreciated here. So in my generation, it's more common to share information on salary, especially if we want to like compare and like being able to judge and estimate, okay, how much can I demand, what is normal in a certain job or position, but it's not something that is extensively talked about and is also not a thing in the dating process. This directly brings me to my third don't, showing off wealth. This is directly connected. Even very rich or well-off people here, they don't show it directly. You can see it like their houses are, of course, their houses show their situation, but not in that attentive way, like in your face, and or like wearing like big jewelry and all of this status symbols is not so much appreciated here. Yeah, it will rather not gain you any respect if you kind of show off too much or brag about it. Like the more humble you are, the more respected you'll be if you're rich or if you're in very secure financial circumstances. Okay, now my number three is, please don't cancel meetings with friends or like invitations to parties or birthdays on a very short notice. Please, if you agree to come and if you say yes, you should better mean it, because people here will really take it seriously what you say, and they also are serious about when they agree to come or accept an invitation. So like saying yeah, and like agreeing to come to different like parties, occasions on the same day, and then briefly showing up and going, or not even showing up and just going to the one you prefer and not the one you have set to first, is something considered very, very rude, and it will not gain you any friends here. It doesn't sit well with people, because if they agree to come to your party or to your place, they mean it. So if you like invite people, just don't say it lightheartedly, because people will think, okay, he's invited me, but when is he going to tell me which time to come or whatever? Then people will be confused. So be genuine in your answers, and if you don't feel like coming or you might feel you have something better to do, then reject or decline right away. And also don't let people or let your friends down if you're agreeing to meet like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You cancel at 4:45 or something like that. It's not going to create a good impression. Okay, my number 5 or 6, I don't know, is don't think that Bavaria equals Germany. I know Bavaria is very prominently shown in the world out there due to the nice traditional clothing of Dirndl and Lederhosen and due to Oktoberfest, which has become a really big thing all over the world, and also due to its great nature and places like Schloss Neuschwanstein, aka the Disney Castle, which is known all around the world. But Bavaria is not Germany. It's a very traditional, beautiful part, and it has quite a strong dominance also politically, etc. But like Bavarians and Northern Germans will not even understand each other, nor does every German wear a dirndl. I have in my life never worn one, and I'm also from the south. It's become a bit of a thing on festivals nowadays, but actually it's a very typical clothing that is only worn in that region of Germany, and I feel to keep it authentic it should like really stay that way. And yeah, we have a lot of different cultures, a lot of culinary difference, a lot of different dialects, and it's very also a diverse country. Germany is definitely more than Bavaria, and you will also not see people running around like it's shown with this Dirndl and Lederhosen. Like, yeah, you can count on that. Okay, my number 7 is don't make the mistake of thinking or assuming that in Germany there are no poor people. There are poor people, there are homeless people, there are jobless people, and people who are really struggling despite having a job and who have to still get additional state support. We do have a great social welfare system and social support system, but still it doesn't mean that people are not jobless. Even academics can be looking for a job for like a year or so even, or more than that. There are a lot of people who have low paying jobs and who struggle to pay their bills at the end of the month, or who struggle in enabling their kids to have a hobby or to attend that school excursion, and then they can ask for additional support. But there are also homeless people in the streets, there are people, there are drug addicts, there's any kind of social struggle going on. And one should not assume that just because we have a great social security system, and generally Germany is considered as a rich country, like our streets are paved with gold. They are not. It can be extremely difficult here too. And also not all Germans do have a good salary or are able to afford a lot of things. Like for example, often I hear comments like, oh, you need better equipment, better mic, and yeah, I do, but I just cannot afford it. So this proves my point, I guess, also. And if I could, I definitely would. Okay, my number 8 is don't be shocked if you go to a public institution, a public club, like a swimming pool or a gym, when people in the common dressing room, of course separated for the sexes, when people just undress very casually and like completely go fully naked, and also in the shower completely undress, get rid of their bathing suit or their sports dress, and this is just a normal thing to do here. People will not have a look at you, they don't expect you to look at them either. It's all natural and fine. They do their stuff, you do your stuff, then you go. So here people are not so ashamed to be naked in front of others. So this common changing rooms are quite normal, and children learn it from early on. Also when they do a team sport, handball, football, tennis, whatever, the whole team showers naked, and this is just a very natural thing to do here. It can be quite unusual or might need some time to get adjusted to that if you are from a different culture. Okay, my next thing is, if you don't know people very well, try to avoid calling them after like 8 o'clock in the evening, because then it's kind of this unspoken rule that people want to have their peace and not be disturbed in the evening. And so try to avoid calling them if they're not like your super close friends, or they're very close friends, or you're living in a student hall or anything. Then it's of course fine. This also brings me to my last point, which is visits, spontaneous visits and self-invites. And I know that it's quite usual in other countries and cultures that you just say, hey, I'm coming over for the weekend, or I'm going to visit you and stay for 2 weeks. And I can just say, don't do that here. Don't self-invite. And if you come over for a spontaneous visit, like, just tell them a little in advance even. Like, there is this saying, yeah, of course I can be spontaneous if you tell me beforehand. Right? So Germans like to be informed, they like to know when to expect you, and then they want to be prepared. Like, if they already have plans and they're in the middle of it and you're just coming and crashing and dropping in, they might be a bit like annoyed that they cannot do what they actually wanted. So it's always best to say, hey, I'd be in town, I'd be in your area, can I maybe, maybe we can meet for a coffee or something like that, to keep it a little more open. Okay, and now on a larger scale, saying you're going to come and stay for the weekend is something you cannot do, let alone like coming for 2 weeks. You have to be invited then by a German. A German will say, hey, you can stay over the weekend, or would you like to come and visit? You can stay at my place and stuff like that. And then it's fine, but don't say, oh, I'm in your city, I'm gonna stay at your place and meet some friends and do this and that. You can tell them that you're in the city or the respective place, but then you have to wait for it, invite, right? Because it's intrusion into personal space. It's really important that the person at whose place you would be staying like invites you. And normally you'd stay there maximum for a weekend. Like, you would tell how long you intend to stay and if that's fine, or you're gonna discuss it beforehand, like that it's a weekend, you're gonna leave at this time, there's your train or whatever. Or your host would say, hey, you can stay until this and then I have to do something, or then I'm going, or something like that. Don't just self-invite and leave the time and day of your departure open. That just doesn't work here. So I know that's different in other places where like relatives can stay over for weeks and months even, but that just doesn't happen here. So I hope I did not shock you too much. I was able to give you a good insight and overview of what to avoid in Germany. And if I did, don't forget the thumbs up and subscribe if you like. If you have anything to add, write in the comments below. If you have further questions, also write them there. We can discuss a little, maybe I can clarify some more of your questions. And yeah, also let me know what other things you would like to learn and see about Germany. And I hope to see you again in one of my next videos. So see you guys, and bye, take care.